What the bloody hell is an AV technician? That's a question that one of my clients asked me just a couple of weeks ago. And do you know what? It's not wrong, is he? When he basically turned around and said, why am I paying for a whole project team to go and hang a few displays on a wall? What the hell am I paying for? I then thought, you know what, maybe it's worth me just sitting down and actually explaining what an AV project team is and the reason why it's really important to ensure that you get it right. This isn't just Gary in a van buying a bunch of screens and then hanging them on the wall. An actual proper project team with project management overlay. Make sure that your project goes really, really well first time. Now, when I first started Spore Group, it was me and Spenno. When we first started the company, it was me and him running around trying to do everything. We're trying to do all of the sales, we're trying to do all of the delivery, we're trying to install everything. And it didn't take long for us to get to the point where it was just an absolute nightmare. Getting 14 meeting rooms to try and buy all of the kit, deliver all of the kit, send all of the invoices, install everything, service it all once it was all installed. Absolute nightmare. It didn't take us long for us to start building out an actual proper project team. Now, clearly it makes sense that Gary in a van can't just easily buy all of the kit, install all of the kit and make sure it's all installed properly. It doesn't make sense. You need project management overlay, you need procurement support, you need installation engineers, you need commissioners, you need programmers. So I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes explaining exactly what that is, what it looks like, what a project team is, and the reason you need to make sure that your AV support has the right project team in place, because without it, the whole thing's a mess. Let's break it down then. So the first thing that we get to when it comes to AV projects, the very, very first thing that anyone ever does is we design it. So what we do is we set our design engineers to work alongside you to understand the needs of your users. Once the needs of your users are understood, we can put a design together based off of the needs of your users. Not based off of the fact that we want to sell Samsung that particular day, but based off of the fact that we sell the right display to the right client for the right needs. That's what we do. That's the design side of things. I'll do design on a different video. For this particular video, I'm going to talk about the delivery, the execution. As soon as the project is awarded, as soon as the contract is awarded, what we do is we assign the project team. The front point of that project team is the project manager. So the very, very first thing we do is we undertake a kick-off meeting. So a kick-off meeting between our design engineer, or our consultant engineer or salesperson, with the project manager. The very, very first thing we do is we explain to the project manager, this is the project, here's the design, here's the requirements for the design, here's the scope of work. The project manager understands that from end to end. The project manager works alongside what we call a project engineer. So when you see PE on your project plan, that's what a PE is, a project engineer. It's the engineer's job to make sure everything works. So if you imagine your project manager almost as the director of a film crew, the engineer is the person that's actually physically putting the lights in the right place or putting the microphones in the right place on a film set. The project manager is there to direct, the project engineer is there to make sure things actually work. It's the project engineer's job to make sure they have the right cables. It's the engineer's job to make sure the cable length is the right way. It's the engineer's job to make sure that the drawings are done accurately. It's the project manager's job to coordinate all of this stuff, but the engineer and the project manager work really closely to make sure the execution of the project is absolutely seamless. So they complete all of the CAD drawings, they complete all of the GA drawings, they complete all of the engineering brains behind the actual delivery. The project manager also needs to work alongside our procurement specialists. So we have a procurement person. We specifically at Spore have a procurement person directly assigned to a particular project. They work alongside the project manager. What the project manager does is they issue the bill of materials to the procurement person. The procurement person puts a lead time matrix together and issues that back to the project manager. The project manager then, armed with the drawings that the project engineer has created and the lead times that the procurement person has created, once he's got that information together, what they do is they issue a Gantt chart. So they issue the Gantt chart to the building contractor and to the client, essentially saying, this is our lead time and all of our hardware. Here's the time that we need on site. I've allocated this many days for install, this many days for commissioning, etc., etc. They put that together into a Gantt chart and they issue the Gantt chart. Once the Gantt chart is accepted by the main contractor and the client, then we go into execution phase. All run through the project manager. During execution phase, all of the procurement has all happened at that point. We have that all agreed. The drawings are done, signed off. Everyone's happy with the drawings. Execution phase is generally broken down into 3 elements. Element number 1 is phase 1. Phase 1 is all about first fix, phase 1. Let's call it first fix for the purpose of this. First fix is all about sticking the cables in the walls and making sure the mounts are on the walls ready for the displays to get mounted. So the drawings are all accepted. You run all of your cables so that the cables are sticking out the walls. You mount your mounts, and you might cut some ceiling holes for the speakers ready to run. All of your cables are all run at that point. That's first fix. We'll then go away off site, wait for the builder to do the rest of their work. We'll come back onto site again and do second fix. Second fix is then when you actually physically install all of the equipment. So the cables are then hanging out the walls, your mounts are all ready to go. Second fix, we arrive on site, we actually mount the displays, we actually fit the place out, we actually install the place and fit it out. That's phase 2. So second fix is phase 2, if you like. Phase 3 is then on to commissioning. Once everything is installed as per the scope, everything is plugged in and ready to go, the commissioning engineer, who's the next part of the puzzle, the commissioning engineer then comes onto site and actually physically commissions the equipment. Now, if you imagine for a moment that you buy a PlayStation, right? You bought a PlayStation, nice shiny box, Santa Claus has brought it along for you, everyone's really happy. What you do with the PlayStation is you go into your living room, you plug it all in, right? Now, specifically in today's day and age, although I haven't got a PlayStation, I don't know for sure, but specifically in today's day and age, plugging a PlayStation in is no good. What you then need to do is you then need to onboard you need to sign up for all the cloud platforms that you use. There's normally, pay and play things that you online. What's the thing, Scott? Call of Duty, online Call of Duty stuff. So, you're signing up for all this kind of stuff. So if you imagine for a moment that your install team is the people that are taking the PlayStation in and plugging it all in, the commissioner is the person that actually goes in and logs into all of the cloud platforms for you. That's exactly what our commissioner does. Our commissioner goes in and makes sure that Microsoft Teams is logged in, make sure Teams is logged in, make sure all of the microphones work, the speakers work. They're the person that actually makes the thing work. The installers install it, the commissioner makes it all work. Once that's done, the project manager then runs what's called the sign-off process. The sign-off process consists of a witness test, which is an internal witness test which SPOR conduct with our commissioner. We accept, or our project manager accepts, that the installers and the commissioners have finished their job. We take control of that. We then do a witness test and report with the client, where we walk through the client step by step, the scope of work in every single room, and we ensure that the client is happy to take delivery of our project. Once that's done, the project manager then steps away. Once the project manager steps away, it's really important to then make sure you have some sort of ongoing maintenance agreement. So what we then do at SPOR is our project manager hands it over to our service support team. Our service support team onboard it onto our SPOR Track platform. Our SPOR Track platform manages all of the assets, remotely monitors all of the assets, and we make sure that we've got a service agreement in place under SLAs so that if anything does go wrong with any of the equipment, we can see it on our SPOR Track platform and we can quickly deploy somebody to site to fix it. More information on the SPOR Track platform, by the way, is found in our AV bundle, which is in the link below. It's in the description. Within the AV bundle, we give you all sorts of design training, some basic concepts for what your meeting rooms might look like, but we give you lots of information on the SPOR Track platform and how to best utilize it as well. So check that link out. It's in the description below if you want some more information. And that's it. So what is an AV technician? Well, strictly speaking, it's a little bit of all of those. But the important thing is when speaking to an AV supplier that you're speaking to is to make sure they've got this full project team in place so that they can deliver a project for you that works first time every time. That's the important bit. This isn't a Gary in a van exercise. That's making sure you've got a full project team in place to make sure your execution of your job is done right. Now, I mentioned the AV bundle. Within the AV bundle, we've got access to what we use for our designs. We use a room configurator, basic room configurator, which absolutely saves us a ton of time with regards to our designs. Without this room configurator, you're doing everything from scratch. Luckily, I've done a video on it, and you can check that video out here where I show you a demonstration of that room configurator. Go check it out.